to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Sarah Westwood, and I'm here today with Congressional reporter Juliegrace Brufke. And Juliegrace, in the Senate right now, Senate Democrats are hoping to pass a bill that codifies protections for same-sex marriage. They want to do that before everybody gets out of town to campaign. Where do those talks stand right now?
So there were a bunch of Democrats that were pushing for it to be included in this must-pass government funding bill. Government funding expires September 30th, so there was a lot of kind of lobbying on their end to try and get that in there. But Chuck Schumer announced this week that it's going to be voted on about a week later. And right now, Senator Baldwin's kind of been trying to push Republicans to get on board. So it's unclear whether they'll have 10 Republicans there to be able to get that through. But
what are some of those Republican objections, right? We've heard some about religious freedom. Maybe this would infringe upon it. I mean, what are you hearing from Republicans about why they don't want to necessarily support this?
So that's kind of the biggie. We saw Ted Cruz come out with a statement. Religious freedom was kind of the big thing. And I mean, it's kind of, it'll be an interesting vote because with the coming elections and being hit on Roe v. Wade and the way that they have and seeing the results in the special elections in the House and how that's kind of been an effective strategy for Democrats, I think the gay marriage vote will be something that Democrats will definitely try and hit moderate Republicans on if they vote against it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
So we're heading into, week 2, week 3 of this pretty open fight between Senator Rick Scott, chairman of the NRSC, and Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. We saw new reports about tensions behind closed doors with them. What's the latest on that feud?
So no shortage of drama in the Senate, which I feel like is usually more the House's jam. But yeah, so I feel like that feud's kind of stemmed back a while, where there were tensions almost even a year ago when Rick Scott released a plan that involved talking about raising taxes on everybody, and Democrats have kind of weaponized that to hit Republicans on, saying it's the GOP plan. So I feel like there have been some lingering tensions, but we saw Rick Scott openly kind of thinly veiled take aim in that op-ed that was published with us at McConnell for saying that there are some issues with some weak candidates and that it won't be necessarily a shoo-in for Republicans to take back the Senate. So and we saw, I mean, I think there's definitely, talking to different members, some concerns about the NRSC's handling of funding. Right now they've got a funding shortage despite having outraised Democrats on that front. So there's definitely, given how tight some of these races are, some concerns on that front.
And finally, speaking of tight races, in Pennsylvania, John Fetterman finally this week came out and said that he does intend to debate Dr. Oz despite, all of these concerns potentially about his cognitive abilities since suffering a stroke. Do you think that that's a wise move on Fetterman's part, given that he does have such a polling advantage? And, how do you see this all playing out?
No, I mean, that race has been fascinating. We've seen Dr. Oz kind of hit him over and over and over again on the issue of not agreeing to debates, especially starting in early September. So we saw Fetterman came out, he told Politico that he'll agree to something mid to late December. He's still kind of working on his recovery. He hasn't announced the specifics on that, but Dr. Oz, he came out today with another statement kind of hitting him, being like, where are the specifics? This should happen before early voting starts. So it's definitely kind of an ugly race and the way things have panned out. But I think we even saw, I think it was one of the Pittsburgh local papers that came out with an op-ed saying that Fetterman needs to be able to debate him, and that was a valid criticism. So, I mean, he's that kind of been out on the campaign trail and doing fundraisers. So, I mean, I think it probably ultimately will be smart for him, but we'll see how it pans out.
Well, Juliegrace, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more reporting from Juliegrace and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.